This is Evangelist Warren Chip Roy. I'm trying again. I'm here in the state of Florida. Uh, Hopefully, here in a few days, I'll be taking off and heading on towards Oklahoma and some other places. Just keep me in prayer about that. But that's not my reason for being here today. I want to give a tribute to some man who I believe God used when I was a sinner to lead me to Christ. I don't say much about because, in my testimony, I didn't really want to deal with every little minute detail, or it would have been a book, not a track or an article. But there was one man, just today I found out, I think today's February 27, 2019. My daughter texted me, and it was a message at Uncle Charlie Vander Meer. I got to get his name right. Vander Meer. Passed away, I think it was last Friday, at the age of 84. Some of you probably know who I'm talking about, Uncle Charlie of Children's Bible Hour, Grand Rapids, Michigan. I listened to it from a child. And I want to comment on what I liked about him above a lot of the other people. As a sinner, I went to church. Don't get me wrong. I even started going to an evangelical church when I was 15 years old. But I still wasn't saved. The things of God did not interest me much. But there was one thing I would listen to. Children's Bible Hour. I think a lot of times my parents may have even known that was one of the few I would listen to, because we'd listen to a lot on Sundays when we would travel. Just keep the radio on, but it seemed like to be the most appealing of all. Some of the different stories, and even today, I don't listen to them like I once did, but I love to listen to story time and get some of the stories that they have. I use them as a preacher. But anyway, I was wanting to make one comment, why in particular. One incident I remember as a lost sinner. It was just a few months before I got saved, back in 1978. I was at the bowling alley one night. I knew it was time for Children's Bible Hour to come on. Rather than continue to play the pinball machine or whatever else I was doing, here I was, a sinner under conviction. I went out to my car, turned the radio on, and listened to Uncle Charlie, Children's Bible Hour. It was one of the few religious broadcasts I actually liked to listen to when I was a sinner. It was one of the most appealing, and he didn't compromise the gospel. I already listened to some of them since, and man, they had some strong messages. If a sinner wanted to get saved, they could have gotten saved through just what they were putting on there. And there was Christian principles and Christian morals that was being taught through them. But I remember a sinner man, either 18 or 19 years of age, far away from God, walking out of a bowling alley, get in his car just long enough to listen to Children's Bible Hour. That's how much of an appeal that broadcast had. There's a lot I've forgotten. Some I've heard throughout the years since I've gotten saved on either old reruns of Children's Bible Hour or on the old repeats of story time, the different stories. Also later on, down Gilead Lane, my daughter and my late wife Cindy and I used to listen to that together on Saturdays. But there were some stories I remember. Pardon me. One story I remember in particular dealt with this forest ranger. He was up in the tower. The fire broke out in the woods. Pardon me. And I remember there were some kids in the woods. You know what that ranger did? He stayed up in his tower. He radioed to the adult over the children. And he's shown them the right way to get out of that fire. He stayed up in that tower while there was a raging forest fire. Rather than escaping for his own life, he stood up there and he pointed them and told them, this is a way out. If you go this direction, you will be okay. Kids and their adult supervisor got out alive. The sad part of that story was this. That forest ranger didn't. The heat was too intense. It caused the tower to collapse to his certain death. This is what I was wanting to say as a tribute to Uncle Charlie. St. John chapter 15, verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this, than that a man lay down his life for his friends. Pardon me. That forest ranger gave his life for those young children and for that adult supervisor. They got out with their lives, but that man died. This is what my message is, and I'm sure Uncle Charlie would appreciate me doing this. The Bible says God commended his love towards us, and while we're yet sinners, Christ died for us. Jesus died for us. He paid that horrible price on Calvary, not because of any sin that he did, but for you and for me. The Bible says, I'm trying to find it right now, it's in Romans chapter 5. I'm almost there. Skipped it. Romans chapter 5, here it is, one page back. Verse 6 of Romans 5. For when we were yet without strength, in due time Christ died for the ungodly. That was you and me. For scarcely for a righteous man will one die, yet peradventure for good men will some even dare to die. But God commended his love towards us, in that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Jesus paid the ultimate price for us today. He died on that horrible cross, suffered cruel mocking, spat upon, whipped with 10 and 9 tails, had his beard pulled out of his face, had crowns of thorns driven into him. Why? For you and for me. He didn't have to do it, but he did, because that was the only way a man could be saved, was through Jesus Christ. The Bible says, for God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. He paid the ultimate price for you and me, nailed to the cross and hung there, dying for the sins of mankind, dying for the ungodly. You say, oh, I'm not ungodly, I'm a moral man. Jesus, when he dealt with the new birth, he didn't deal with it with a prostitute, with a thief. In John 3, he dealt with one of the most righteous, self-righteous men of that day, Nicodemus. What did Jesus say to him? After he said, I knew you are a man of God, for no man could do these miracles except God be with him. He said, verily, verily, I say unto thee, except the man be born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God. He was talking to Nicodemus, a righteous man in the eyes of the world, a righteous man in the eyes of the religious world of that day, by a lost sinner heading for hell. Yes, I believe Nicodemus got saved. But I'm not talking to Nicodemus today. I'm talking to you. The Bible says, for all have sinned and have come short of the glory of God. It doesn't matter whether you're a religious person who's gone to church all their lives, if you're the worst sinner in your city. Jesus died for you. He died for your sin. He died for me. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son. Just like that fireman, that forest ranger might add, died to point the way for those young people to get out of that forest fire. Jesus died not just to point the way, but to be the way. For there's no other name under heaven whereby we can be saved but Jesus Christ. I thank God for men like Charlie Vander Meet, who done the best he could to show us how to be saved through Jesus Christ. I'm thankful for his testimony. I'm thankful for what he had done, and I'm sure there are people in heaven today. All thanks to Charlie Vander Meet and him faithfully preaching the word to young people and adults too, for I believe stuff like that had a way to always appeal to us, even when I was a sinner. I tell you today, if you don't know Jesus, let today be the day of salvation. We don't know what tomorrow may hold. You say, oh, Brother Roy, I'm in good health. You could have a heart attack and die. You could be in a car wreck and die. Only God knows when that appointment's going to be. Today, if you don't know Jesus, why not repent? Be sorry for the sins you've committed against God. And by a simple act of faith, receive Jesus. For see, Jesus just didn't die, and that was it. 3 days later, he arose, and according to the Scriptures, Romans chapter 10, verse 9 and 10, that thou shalt confess with thy mouth the Lord Jesus Christ, and shalt believe in thine heart that God raised him from the dead, thou shalt be saved. For with the heart man believeth unto righteousness, with the mouth confession is made unto salvation. The Bible says, John 1:12, and you hear me quote this verse a lot, that as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God, as many as believed on his name. You know Jesus? If you don't, why not repent of your sin? And by faith confess the Lord Jesus, for Jesus is Lord of your life, and be saved. I don't think that there could have been a greater tribute to the late Uncle Charlie Vander Meet than me to give a cry out, a call to the lost and the backslidden today to be born again. Today, if you don't